So hello friends, welcome to my channel and in coaching center. So today I'm going to explain you that is 11th standard biology second chapter biological classification. So let's come to the chapter. So let us know about the biological classification. What is the meaning? So biological classification is a scientific procedure of arranging the organisms into groups or and subgroups on the basis of their similarities, dissimilarities, and placing the group in a hierarchy of category. And let us know about what are the importance of doing classification. So it helps in identification of new organism, and it is not possible to study every organism. Study of one or two organisms of a group gives sufficient information about the features of the groups, and classification helps in the knowing the relationship amongst different groups of organisms, and also the organisms of past cannot be studied without a proper system of classification. Let us know about the artificial system of classification. One or two morphological characteristics for grouping of organisms is used only. Flowering and non-flowering plants, Enema and Anima or Aristotle classification also we call it as, and natural system of classification. So it takes into the consideration comparable study of a number of characteristics so as to bring out natural similarities and dissimilarities and hence natural relationship among the organism. And Bentham and Hooker did the classification about the natural system of classification. Next, phylogenetic system of classification. So it is based on the evolutionary relationship of organisms. In this system, organisms are classified on the basis of their evolution on Earth from primitive to highly evolved, and Engler and Prandtl classification and Hutchinson classification and all the other classification. So next, the kingdom 2 systems of classification organisms or group on the basis of the presence and absence of the cell wall that was proposed by Carolin Linnaeus, who is called known as the father of taxonomy. And three kingdom and next the three kingdom system, that is Haeckel separated unicellular animals, algae and fungi on the basis of lack of tissue differentiation, and new kingdom Protista was introduced by them. And the five kingdom system that was introduced by R.H. Whitaker was divided in all organisms into five kingdoms in order to develop phylogenetic classification. So let us know about the Monera. Monera, the kingdom includes all prokaryotes, Mycoplasma, bacteria, actinomycetes and cyanobacteria. And these unicellular prokaryotes and contains the most primitive of living forms, and also the cells or microscope and cell wall is generally present, and genetic materials are not organized into nucleus and contains naked DNA, and membrane bounded organelles are absent. So these are the bacteria forms cocci, bacilli, spirilla and vibrio are the bacteria of them. Next, Archaebacteria. So they are the group of most primitive prokaryote which live under most hostile conditions like extremely salty area, hot springs and marshy area like this. And Eubacteria, they are called as true bacteria containing rigid cell wall if motile contains fragment. Cyanobacteria are blue-green algae or gram-positive photosynthetic bacteria, and they contains chlorophyll and carotenoids. Next, let us know about the Mycoplasma. So they are the simple free living prokaryotes, and they are also known as the PPLO, that is pneumonia like organisms. Let us know about the next Protista. So kingdom Protista includes like rhizophytes, dinoflagellus, flagellatus, euglyoids, slimoid and protozoans, and it includes all unicellular and colonial eukaryotes. Most of them are aquatic forming plankton, and mode of classification may be photosynthetic, saprobic, parasitic, or holozoic. And Flagella, if present, are 11 standard with 9 plus 2 arrangement of microtubulus composed of tubulin, and genetic material consists of 2 or more DNA molecules. And let us know about some types of them are chrysophytes, and they includes the diatoms and golden algae found in the fresh water as well as the marine water. And in diatom cell wall forms two thin overlapping cells which feed together as in soap box. Next, I know flagellates. So they are basically unicellular motile, and they are biflagellate and photosynthetic protists. And predominant color is golden brown, but yellow, green, red, and even blue also they may be. Next, euglenoids. They are euglena-like unicellular flagellates which possesses pellicle instead of cell wall, which make their body flexible, and they have two flagella, one short and another long. And another is they are photosynthetic in presence of sunlight and act as predator in absence of sunlight. And some of the examples are euglena and some of the example of these euglenoids are euglena and peranima. So slime molds, so they are the saprophytic protists and feeds on decaying twigs and leaves. Under favorable conditions they form an aggregation that is we call as plasmodium, which produces fruiting bodies bearing spores, and the cell walls of spores bear cellulose. And some of the example of these slime molds are the Physarum and Fuligo. Next, protozoas. All the protozoas are heterotrophs and live as predator of parasites, and they are considered as primitive relative of animals. And amoeboids move and capture food by pseudopodia. Some are parasites also. And flagellated protozoans are free living or parasites. They have flagella. Next, let us know about the next thing is the fungi. Fungi, they are achlorophyllas. They are heterotrophic, spore-forming, non-vascular eukaryote organisms. Cell wall is made up of chitin or fungal cellulose. Preserved food is glycogen, and mode of nutrition is saprophytic, parasitic, or semobiotic. And reproduction may be vegetative, asexual, or sexual reproduction by oospores, ascospore, and basidiospores. And sexual cycle that involves in the following steps are plasmogamy, fusion of male and female gametes; karyogamy, fusion of two nuclei; meiosis in zygote to produce haploid spores. Next, phycomycetes. So they are found in aquatic habitat and on decaying wood in moist and damp places. And the mycelium is aseptate and coinocytic, and asexual reproduction by zoospores or aplanospores. And some of the examples of phycomycetes are Mucus, Rhizopus, Albugo. Next, ascomycetes. So they are saprophytes, decomposers, parasites, cytic or coprophilous. And mycelium are branched and septated and asexual spores are conidium, and sexual spores are called as ascospore, produced inside the fruit body called ascocarps. And some of the example of ascomycetes are Neurospora, Aspergillus, Claviceps, and others. Next, Basidiomycetes. So the club fungi it is also known as, and Here the ascomycetes, they are called as the sac fungi, and phycomycetes is another called as it is nothing which it is called. So the basidiomycetes or the club fungi, the mycelium is branched and separate. Vegetative reproduction is by fragmentation. Asexual spores are not found. Sexual reproduction is by two vegetative or somatic cells forming basidium, and basidiospores are produced in basidium by developing a fruiting body that is called as basidiocarp. And some example of these basidiomycetes are the Agaricus, Ustilago, and Bucania. And next, Deuteromycetes or the fungi imperfect. So on vegetative and asexual phase is known, it is known as only vegetative and asexual phase is known, and mycelium is separate and branched, and some members are saprophytes or parasites, and some of the example are Alternaria, Trichoderma, Coledotrichus are the some of the examples of Deuteromycetes. Plantae, they are eukaryote chlorophyll bearing organisms. Life cycle is divided into diploid saprophytes, haploids, gamophytes, which alternative with each other, and kingdom Plantae includes algae, bryophytes, pteridophytes, gymnosperms, and angiosperms. Next, Animalia, heterotrophs. Heterotropic eukaryotic organisms that are multicellular and cell wall is absent in the cell, and mode of nutrition is holozoic, and reserve food is glycogen or fats, and sexual reproduction is by copulation between male and female followed by the embryological development. Next, viroids and lichens. So virus are non-cellular organisms that have crystalline structure outside the living, and when they enter the living cell they take over the machinery of living cells to replicate themselves. And T.J. Ivanovsky recognized certain microbes as casual organisms of mosaic disease of tobacco. And in addition to protein, viruses also contain genetic material that could be DNA or RNA. The general virus that infect plants have single-stranded RNA, and viruses that infect animals have double-stranded DNA. And some common diseases caused by virus are common cold, influenza, smallpox, and other things. And bacterial feeding viruses are called as bacteriophage, and viroids are discovered by T.O. Dana as new infectious agent smaller than virus. And lichens are symbiotic association between algae and fungi, and the algal part is called as the phycotes and fungal part is called as the mycobiota, and they are good pollution indicator as they do not grow in the polluted area. So okay friends, this was your chapter, the biological classification. So I think you understand this chapter. So like the video, comment on my video, and subscribe my channel and my coaching center for more video. I will see you in the next video. Till then, take care, have a nice day. Bye my dear friends.